said Bangladesh's interests will always come first. Before anything else, I will prioritize the interests of my country and my people. That will guide every decision I make, he said. Speaking on cross-border issues, Tariq Rahman said, "Of course, I will demand my share of water. Of course, I will not accept another felony hanging on the border. I gave these examples to explain our position clearly. I will demand what is rightfully ours." BNP acting chairman also said that any doubt over the interim government's capability or intentions are being eradicated since they announced an election roadmap. He made the statement in response to a question regarding his earlier comment in May when he claimed that doubts were arising in the minds of people over the interim government's capabilities. The doubt is gradually reducing since the chief advisor Mohammad Yunus announced the election roadmap. He has reiterated his commitment to the decision of holding national elections in February many times since then. All doubts will be gone as long as the interim government stick to their commitment, said Tariq Rahman. He said, "We saw how all parties were removed and one-party politics was introduced through Bakshal. When BNP took power, it again established the politics of many parties. Yes, we have to go learn from the good endeavors of our past and advance forward," added the BNP acting chairman. "One of the main goals of BNP now is to establish democracy and accountability," said Tariq Rahman. Chief Election Commissioner CEC AMM Nasiruddin has said the Election Commission will seek advice from former Commission officials with hands-on experience in election management to help prevent fraud and manipulation. "We will listen to those who have worked on the ground. Many of you have the experience of how election fraud can be carried out. Having served in the EC for many years, you can advise us on where and how manipulations take place so that we can prevent them," the CEC said at a dialogue today. As part of its ongoing series of discussions aimed at ensuring the 30th National Parliamentary election in a free, fair and peaceful manner, the EC held a meeting with election experts this morning at the EC headquarters in Agagao. 8 former EC officials and 1 election observer attended the session. A credible and inclusive election rather than a flawed one is the only way to resolve Bangladesh's ongoing political crisis, Jamaat Islami Naib Amir Sayyid Abdullah Muhammad Tahir said today, warning that a hasty or one-sided poll would only deepen instability. Speaking to journalists at Hazrat Shah Jalal International Airport upon his return from the United States after the UN General Assembly session, Tahir expressed confidence that there was no cause for concern regarding the next election scheduled for February. He said discussions held in New York with various advisors and delegation members underscored the risks of a rushed election, citing the experiences of 2014, 2018 and 2024 as examples of polls that exacerbated political tensions instead of resolving them. Tahir stressed the urgent need to restore a democratic system of governments and urged the government to take swift measures to ensure a participatory and acceptable election. He also highlighted the importance of giving legal effect to the July Charter, which he said should have been implemented 3 months earlier. Although all parties agree in principle, the implementation is being delayed, he alleged. If there is a conspiracy behind this and the necessary reforms are not carried out, the entire process will become questionable. National Citizen Party Chief Organizer North Sarjis Alam yesterday said the chief advisor's responsibility extends beyond simply holding an election. The position demands bold and visionary leadership to meet expectations of people who placed their trust in him, Sarjis told reporters at Rajshahi. He said the chief advisor has earned public trust and must act accordingly. If July Charter is implemented and parties cooperate, there should be no obstacle to holding elections by February next year, he said. Referring to Nahid Islam's earlier remarks on advisor's safe exit, Sarjis said, "We want to see how their chapter ends. When they embraced the uprising, they were supposed to bring reform, take bold decisions and end misdeeds. Now that those same issues have resurfaced, they must take responsibility. Finance advisor Dr. Salahuddin Ahmed said on Tuesday that the government has already crossed the external borrowing limit set by the International Monetary Fund (IMF). But he said development's partners' concerns over debt sustainability are understandable and rooted in ensuring prudent financial management. Dr. Salahuddin made the remarks while briefing reporters after a meeting of the Advisors Council Committee on Government Purchase held at the Secretariat with the advisor in the chair. We have already exceeded the ceiling. Around $4 billion additional funds have been used, but overall we have shown progress, Dr. Salahuddin said. When asked about the reason behind the borrowing ceiling, the advisor explained that the limit was introduced to maintain the country's debt sustainability and repayment capacity. The government has issued the third amendment to the International Crimes Tribunal Amendment Ordinance 2025, disqualifying individuals from contesting national or local elections or holding any public office once formal charges are framed against them. The amendment to the ordinance was issued on Monday. A new section 20C has also been added to the amended ordinance. Under this provision, any individual formally indicted by the tribunal will be deemed ineligible in 4 key areas: becoming a member of parliament, being appointed as a member, commissioner, chairman, mayor, administrator of any local government body, and holding any position in government service. The ordinance, however, clarifies that if an accused is acquitted or discharged by the tribunal, the disqualifications will no longer apply. According to sources at the Law Ministry, the primary objective of the amendment is to ensure that individuals accused of committing international crimes cannot hold any state responsibility while under trial. It also seeks to prevent controversial figures from occupying important public positions in the future. The International Crimes Tribunal (ICT) has formally begun an investigation into allegations of crimes against humanity against Awami League as a political party, Chief Prosecutor Tajul Islam said today. An investigation officer has already been appointed to carry out the probe. The investigation has officially started, he said while speaking to reporters on the premises of the ICT in Dhaka. This is the first time in history that the ICT prosecution has decided to investigate a political party over allegations of crimes against humanity. The chief prosecutor said the assigned officers will try to complete their task as soon as possible. Upon receiving the investigation report, appropriate legal steps will be taken regarding the Awami League as a party, he said. Responding to a query, Tajul Islam said the investigation was initiated after issuing a complaint registration. The water level in the Tista River has fallen below the danger mark, easing flood conditions in the shoal areas of Lalmonirhat, Kurigram, Rangpur and Nilphamari. Floodwaters have started receding in many places today, allowing people who had taken shelter on embankments, roads and flood centers to return home. Around 9 a.m. today, the water level at the Tista barrage point in Nilphamari, Dalia, was recorded at 51.70 meters, 45 centimeters below the danger mark. At Kaunia Point, the level stood at 29.15 meters, 15 centimeters below the danger mark, according to the Water Development Board (WDB). Amitabh Chaudhary, executive engineer of Dalia WDB, said there has been no rainfall. The inflow of hill water from upstream has also stopped. There is no possibility of a rise in Tista water soon. Floodwaters have started receding from the Chaos and riverside villages, and displaced people are returning home. Kurigram WDB executive engineer Rakibul Hassan added the flood situation has improved, but river erosion may occur in some vulnerable areas as the water level falls. We are keeping watch and will drop sand-filled geo bags immediately if erosion starts. Viewers are taking a short break. Stay with us.
5-star facilities, rich chain hotel, Grand Palace. Relax in spacious rooms and suites. Enjoy local and international cuisines. Banquet and conference room. Helipad. Gymnasium. Beauty salon. Restaurants and bar. Cafe lounge. Experience luxury at Grand Palace, Rangpur.
Now, news from abroad. Scientists John Clark, Michel Deverett and John Martinis own the 2025 Nobel Prize in Physics for the discovery of macroscopic quantum mechanical tunneling and energy quantization in an electric circuit, the award-giving body said on Tuesday. This year's Nobel Prize in Physics has provided opportunities for developing the next generation of quantum technology, including quantum cryptography, quantum computers and quantum sensors, the prize awarding body said in a statement. All three winners are based in the United States. The Nobel Physics Prize is awarded by the Royal Swedish Academy of Sciences and includes a prize sum totaling 11 million Swedish crowns, $1.2 million, that is shared among the winners if there are several, as is often the case. The Nobel Prizes were established through the will of Alfred Nobel, who amassed a fortune from his invention of dynamite. Since 1901, with occasional interruptions, the prizes have annually recognized achievements in science, literature and peace. Economics was a later addition. Physics was the first category mentioned in Nobel's will, likely reflecting the prominence of the field during his time. The Vatican's top diplomat sharply criticized Israel's ongoing massacre in Gaza in comments published on Monday, one of the Catholic Church's strongest condemnations of Israel's war against the fighter group Hamas. In an interview tied to the second anniversary of Hamas's attack on Israeli communities on October 7, 2023, Cardinal Pietro Parolin also called those attacks inhuman and indefensible and urged Hamas to free remaining hostages. Those who were attacked have a right to defend themselves, but even legitimate defense must respect the principle of proportionality, said Parolin, the Vatican Secretary of State and one of Pope Leo's top deputies. The war waged by the Israeli army to eliminate Hamas militants disregards the fact that it is targeting a largely defenseless population already pushed to the brink in an area where buildings and homes are reduced to rubble, he said. Senior European Union officials who visited Ukraine have delivered a stern message to Kyiv that it has a lot more to do to secure membership while they work on overcoming Hungary's opposition to Ukrainian accession. Ukraine needs to back up of all 27 EU countries to become a member, but Budapest is blocking it from moving to the next stage of accession negotiations, citing concerns including the language rights of ethnic Hungarians. Hungary's stance has frustrated other EU states, and the bloc's enlargement commissioner Marta Kos led a high-level charm offensive in Ukraine last week, meeting the Hungarian minority in the west of the country to try to ease tensions. For many people in Ukraine, the prospect of EU membership represents a beacon of hope for a prosperous future over 3 decades after it won independence from the Soviet Union. Syria on Monday published preliminary results of its indirect vote for the first parliament since Bashar al-Assad's historic toppling last year, with election officials' acknowledgement a low success rate for women and religious minorities. Sunday's vote saw around 6,000 members of regional electoral colleges choose candidates from pre-approved lists, part of a process to produce nearly two-thirds of the new 210-seat body. President Ahmed al-Shara will later select the remaining third. In the days preceding the vote, analysts and some Syrians had voiced concerns that it was too centrally managed and that suspending elections in areas outside government control meant not all communities were being fairly represented. In preliminary results issued on Monday, Syria's electoral committee said that 119 lawmakers had been selected but did not include the number of votes each received. Hours after his latest Prime Minister was forced to resign, unable to form a cabinet that lasted more than a day, French President Emmanuel Macron was spotted walking alone by the scene in the chilly autumn morning. Bodyguards kept their distance ahead and behind as he wandered out through a wrought iron gate onto the stone embankment in a black overcoat. The scene, captured from afar on video and shown on French TV, evoked images of Charles de Gaulle seeking solace in the wind-swept plains of Ireland after his resignation in the late 1960s, a leader retreating inward as his political era drew to a close. The U.S. Supreme Court declined on Monday to hold key parts of a judge's order requiring Alphabet's Google to make major changes to its App Store Play as the company prepares to appeal a decision in a lawsuit brought by Fortnite maker Epic Games. The justices turned down Google's request to temporarily freeze parts of the injunction won by Epic in its lawsuit, accusing the tech giant of monopolizing how consumers access apps on Android devices and pay for transactions within apps. A federal appeals court in July upheld the judge's sweeping order against Google. The injunction issued last year by U.S. District Judge James Donato requires Google to allow users to download rival app stores within its Play Store and make Play's app catalog available to competitors. Those provisions do not take effect until July 2026. Human skin cells may one day be used to create functional human eggs in a step toward helping women have their own genetic children when their natural eggs are dysfunctional, according to very early lab experiments reported in a scientific journal on Tuesday. The process, which would carry significant safety concerns, involves removing the nucleus from a woman's skin cell and inserting it into an egg or orchid from which the nucleus has been removed, scientists detailed in Nature Communications. Doctors are seeing an increasing number of people who cannot use their own eggs, often because of age or medical conditions. Reproductive medicine specialist Ying Xiong of the UK's University of Southampton, who was not involved in the research, said in a statement. While this is still very early laboratory work, in the future it could transform how we understand infertility and miscarriage, and perhaps one day open the door to creating egg or sperm-like cells for those who have no other options, Xiong said. Before ending, we go through the headlines again. India has become unpopular for sheltering an autocrat. Tariq in BBC Bangla interview. 111 regime ill-intentioned government. CEC 6 ex-EC officials insights to prevent election fraud, urges cooperation for holding fair, transparent and credible polls. Tista water level drops. Flood-affected families still struggle. 45 cm below danger mark at Tista barrage point, says WDB. You are updated with our top stories so far here on SATV, and to know the latest news, visit www.satv.tv. Stay with SATV.